Hello. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. Welcome to the podcast with Shanti. Here, we navigate the complexities of career pivots and the tech landscape. But we keep the vibes relaxed. I'm so ready to settle in for a cozy conversation with our guest today, Veena Ramaswamy, an empowering leader and a data visionary. Veena, welcome to my podcast and stage is all yours. I would like you to take this opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience.
First of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Santhi. It's truly a delight for me as well. Let me introduce myself. I'm Veena Ramasamy. I'm a seasoned data architect. I have a career span of 18 years in the data space. I currently hold the title of Assistant VP at Moody's. And I'm really passionate about data and its transformative powers. And I specialize in building scalable architectures. I love looking at how AI is going to shape and mold the future. And beyond my technical expertise, I am really committed to mentorship. I guide early career professionals into navigating through all the complexities of the career, of the data world and other domains as needed. Besides that, I love to explore new cuisines and I love reading books. That's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. So, if I understood, if I can summarize in a single line, you architect the data to thrive. You also help people thrive in their careers by empowering them through your mentorship.
Absolutely.
That's so rare because it is so willing to give it back your knowledge, your skills, empowering somebody to thrive in their careers. And this is a great effort from your side, I would say, because uplifting others is a great cause. And we need more leaders like you. And I'm sure our conversation is going to be as insightful as how we started. But before we dive into our conversation, I have an icebreaker question for you. Are you game?
Sure, let's go.
Remember, there is no right or wrong answer, just whatever pops into your head first.
Sure.
Okay. If you could identify as a fruit, which fruit would it be and why?
Think it's one of the easiest choice for me. I would like to identify as an orange
Wow.
because it's so refreshing to the palate. Uh, it's my favorite fruit too. And what are the other characteristics I love about being an orange? Well, it's noticeable. The color is brilliant, right?
Bright and brilliant.
Luminous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if choose to be a fruit, I would choose it to be orange. And the acidity and even the flavor, it cuts through all the crap and gets you the
The
important
blast of flavor.
flavor. Yeah, just flavorful. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a very different perspective of orange, I think I came
It's a
across.
very interesting question. That's the first
Interesting to learn
good
that
choice.
one. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Vida, looking back at your 18 years rich career journey, was there one specific turning point, whether it was a risk you took or a sudden pivot, that defined where you are today?
Sure. One of the key pivot I decision that I made was to really start thinking about the impact that you create at work. Because in my early career days, I felt like I was more of a ticket taker.
Mhm.
which means that, hey, you take a task, you think about it to just tactfully enough to complete the task, so it checks boxes, right?
Yeah.
It's in your first 2 years of your career, you're really learning what are the uh, nuts and bolts of how IT industry works. How does project flow? What is project management? How does waterfall technique work? How does Scrum work? Like how does a product gets designed and how it gets executed? You're still trying to understand how to swim in the in IT, right? So at that point, I was just completely in an like an observant phase where I used to observe, but I used to not take necessary action. You know for a fact that if you did a task differently, it's going to yield better results. So after my formative years, I started thinking about, okay, if I do this differently, if I take risks, am I going to like basically the fear of failure also kept me away from taking such a decision, right?
Right.
So, but as I went through different projects, worked at different places, I understood that taking risk is the best way of increasing your chances of a better product that comes with all the bells and whistles. Not just uh, okay, this component has been designed and executed, but also how this particular data governance program can be improved. How much of the stakeholders' advice should we take, or how much of the technical challenges are we supposed to really solve for? So, long story short, it's about taking risks. It's about knowing to navigate the world in such a way that it's okay to do mistakes, but they should be acceptable failures from where you can bounce back. Those risk taking decisions have yielded the best results ever. Yeah. And
It's cool. So it is important sometimes, like it, as you said, it's a very formative years for you. Like, we play that safe game, making sure we cover the ground, we learn those foundational steps, fundamental things, everything in the from the business. So once we have that confidence, it's important to take that risk, step out of that comfort zone, try to see the business from a bigger lens. That gives you a very different perspective, a different kind of learning. We might fail, but which is fine. We can pivot always, take that learning with us and understand what works for us, what doesn't. But if we never
absolutely.
take that risk, stepping out of what we were doing in that small shell, we would never be able to thrive and grow.
Absolutely. You
Right.
said that.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a very such important lesson. Whoever, like, as you mentor early career, engineers, it is important for them to have this lesson in their mind. Don't just feeling comfortable be in that same place, same role, just because it's comforting for you. Try to think beyond your role, try to understand the business in a bigger perspective on the bigger landscape, so that you can be innovative, you can add more back to the industry and to the system.
Absolutely. Don't stay inside the bunker. Get out there and capture your enemy. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that leads me to my next question.
Sure.
With technology changing so fast, it's like ever changing. So, what emerging trend do you think is the most misunderstood? And what is the one ethical conversation we should be having about it right now?
That's a very deep question, Santhi, to be honest. I mean, the the clear answer out there is AI, right? AI is shaping, transforming our lives altogether.
Mhm.
Some of us who used to spend like 2 weeks just on one task, it takes us just less than hours, like less than 2 hours, you are able to code it enable it, and you look to the left, you look to the right, and people are just coming up building these apps over a weekend, and it's out there.
Yeah.
Now, the more important question is, when it comes to organizations, when it comes to leadership, right, are they having the emotional intelligence and the organizational thought process about how they are going to help people move that needle, right? Because when I see people in, even among my friend circle, right, I see many of them are totally stressed because they are forced to use AI. They think, okay, I have this new tool, I can do so much, but I also see that there are additional tools which I might not know how to use. Because I think the last count was like 72,000 agents or something is what models are, what is out there in the world. Now we can't go behind every model and try to look at the pros and cons of it and which one to use, right? So we need to build a culture in such a way that people are going to embrace the fact that many of us are going to just build something using AI, and almost 70% of that is going to be throwaway work. Now, I'm just reiterating that, right?
Yeah.
If you were to build something using AI, almost 70% of what you have built might become throwaway work, because you might find in the process of building something with AI that there is another tweak that you need to make. So you might want to start fresh. You might want to build that AI agent from a clean slate. You might want to design it differently, knowing what you have seen. So test and build phase will take a lot of your time. It's going to question your the very foundational principles that you work on as to how you did before, but it's going to test you and make you think twice about putting that particular rule set. And the general expectation of an organization is to, hey, you have been given all the tools, now it's up to you to implement it. Now you will get there, but it's just a matter of, have you experimented with it, have you started playing around with it. Now, leaders need to think about how to help their colleagues, how to talk about those particular quantum leaps in a way that it supports them, protects them, and they should be be able to coach them in such a way and say that, hey, it's okay if you fail, but make sure that you're at least embracing some component of AI for it. As long as you are trying to embrace, you will be able to move the needle towards the AI revolution and keep going. I There's a joke that comes, or a funny incident that comes. I was just talking to my grandparents the other day, right? And they were also saying, like, we had to move from basic paper to typewriters, and then came computers, and we were all so scared. So it's the same thing that's happening with AI. So when we talk about what is the ethical way to approach it, we should be ready to see failures, I would say. So as much as everybody is trying to break their heads about how to embrace AI, as a human being, you should be thinking about this practically. See that, okay, we have tried A, B, and C, but D is going to work, but we'll have to build it from scratch. We need to give everybody the safe space to evolve and approach this in a positive manner. So yeah, I'll pause there. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have pretty much tried to put everything in one place. Like, there are different perspectives. I can hear that. A, don't be afraid of the change. Change is the only constant. We moved from different times to like now technology is ruling. And now the technology landscape is like growing even more, evolving more into like AI world. We have to embrace that change. But at the same time, the leadership has to create such an environment for employees to, it's okay, it's a safe, just like it might seems like a baby steps. Maybe you're already proficient enough what you're doing it. But with AI, you have to start doing those baby steps, which is fine. You're not judged. It's a safe environment. Go explore. Try get to from proof of the concept place to actually AI as a product, as a tool. We have to get there. Only way to get there is keep playing with it, keep rebuilding because orchestrating AI agents is not easy. It doesn't happen in one single go. You have to keep iterate that orchestration. Keep telling your agent what is right, what is not, what you want, what is not supposed to be included in a prompt response. So that is how we start, but we have to be keep playing with it until we get comfortable and we get to the point, yes, AI is the tool, is the system, is going to help us lead our life now. So it's a very beautiful thing that you have said, right? It's from the both the sides. Employees have to have that mindset to embrace that change, start playing with AI, experimenting with AI. At the same time, the leaders have to create that safe environment, saying that go ahead and play with it, explore. You're
Right.
not judged, you're safe,
You
share the
summarized
learnings.
it very well.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. And that leads to my third question. I'm so interested and curious to know that, after this insightful conversation with you, how it is evolving. What do you really do after you step away from the keyboard? Like the personal pursuit or the hobby that you're most passionate about?
I
And
love
what's
to
like
read
one,
books. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, one key takeaway, like, from that hobby or the activity that you find surprisingly you are finding it's valuable applying back to your day-to-day work life as a tech professional?
So there are two habits that I have. One is I read books. I love to read books because I want to understand. I especially like to read autobiographies. The last one I read was about Indra Nui, brilliant woman. So I read those kinds of books to really get another perspective of how to deal with life's challenges. And when you read such books, you also understand not everybody's life has to go through the necessary challenges to shape them into the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of key lessons I go after. Now, when it comes to other books and articles, I do try to keep myself ahead of the game. I read medium articles. I like to see what is the emerging technologies. People have already tried and tested some of the architectural design, the components that are available. So how it matters, what is their point of failure, right? Like how did they come back from the ashes? So when I think about that one skill set or that one mindset, like you say, is you have to be a lifelong learner. What helped you grow in your career in your first year of your career is not going to be this, not going to help you get what you want when later in your career, right? You need to keep evolving. You need to keep learning, and it also helps you embrace failures as stepping stones. It's easy to say, oh, they're just stepping stones, and it's okay to fail and everything. But when it comes to having the strength to grow from our mistakes, it needs some kind of outside hand holding. You need that comfort zone. You need people that you can rely on, or in this case, you can rely on people who have built their lives so beautifully that you can learn from their lessons, their life's lessons. So it becomes important that it goes back to the very first point which I was talking about, right? You need to get out of your comfort zone, but in order to do that, you need to take certain actions. You need to be in pursuit of new knowledge, how you can modify or change, because, like you said, Shanti, like change is the only constant. So, yeah. So that's what I'm passionate about, and that's how I connect things back to my work. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Veena. I mean, you have dropped wonderful lines, golden lines, I would say, because something that worked at the very first step in the process when we started, where we started and how we are evolving, may not necessarily work at the 10th step or now or to take you to that future self. You have to be keep evolving by learning new things,
Absolutely.
getting new skills. That is when you can help yourself moving from now to the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
also like a very important thing you said, like why maybe people think why we have to read about somebody else's life. Not necessarily they had gone through the same course of actions or the challenges like we did, but their journeys are different. So we don't have to necessarily make the same mistakes.
Right.
By
Right.
learning from their journeys, you keep yourself from doing those mistakes because you already have a lesson. Somebody did that for you. So you can go and do the different mistake. Leave the
And learn
learning.
from that, and you
Yeah.
you become the trendsetter for that.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
again, I'm sure some of those leaders haven't seen challenges of AI, right? We are the new set of leaders who's going to embrace AI, and we are going to make our mistakes, and somebody else will learn from our mistakes. So we are going to become the next trendsetter. But if you want to be a trendsetter, you need to be well informed about uh, um,
Right.
the outside world. So we need to be really
Yeah,
informed.
don't
Yeah.
just dip your toe to test the water, really test it and, get in there, get dirty, learn it, leave those lessons for the next generation, right? Tomorrow somebody else is reading, maybe you're going to write a book and the next generation would be reading it and talking about it, discussing, right? So that's what book reading gives. But speaking of, do you have any books top of your head that you really suggest somebody is really, really aspiring to grow in their careers?
I would say Gap and the Gain. It's a book about how not to be completely stuck with your problems. Don't embrace a negative mindset. Don't look at the gaps. One of the important lessons it helped me with or gave me was you need to measure your progress or your success based on the start date of that action. So, in other words, let's say I truly wanted to become an expert at making sushi, let's say, just a scenario over there, right? I cannot work on it for a week
Mhm.
and then at the end of 7 days say, oh, I am having a career span of 18 years, but I still can't make sushi. It's bad. It didn't come out well. No, you have been working on that skill only for 7 days, last 7 days.
Right.
So you need to measure your progress from the day you started, or even I can make that into technology, right? Your AI agents and all of that. Now it's been almost a year and a half that where we have truly started embracing AI in our daily lives. We're interacting with AI agents and all of that. Cut to 2 years back, we knew something of AI was coming. Chat GPT is being evolved, like we can go and chat with it, but we consider that as AI, just chatting with the agent as AI. But now you have proper AI agents with RAG built in, being you can scroll through so many documents and get your answers. So, and you have MCPs, which act as the master agent, calls upon sub agents depending on the kind of tasks you have.
Right.
So all this, if I were to say, if you would have asked me such questions in January of this year, I would have no clue. I would not be able to answer those questions or give you that level of detail. But it's only in the last 1 year, because I worked on it and understood how AI is changing the world, I can talk to such topics, really, right? So always look at the gain and don't fall into the gap of, oh, this is not happening for me. And please try different things. So this book talks about embracing the game and overcoming your challenges. So I would highly recommend that book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely say yes. I started reading it. It made a huge difference the way I started, qualifying myself. Because when you start counting on your accomplishments, your gains, the gap, disappears. That sense of like, oh, you achieved, you can do much more. That encourages you. You beautifully said that. Don't disqualify yourself just because you're looking at the holistic, like the whole journey, but start measuring, since the time you have started that effort, trying something new, you made even a smallest progress, a little progress, which is totally fine. But don't take the timeline to like your entire career span, just like how you said. If you say like, oh, how much you know about AI, I only know like a little bit of one or two concepts. That's fair enough because it's only exposed to many of us in the past year and a half. So we don't expect anybody to be a geek that know in and out of like what is AI, but appreciate the effort that you're embracing that change. You're able to talk about one or two concepts, right? You're able to like build that conversation about AI. That is
Absolutely.
important.
You will find your moonshot eventually, but until then, believe in your game. You will see that paradigm shift, but you will get there. And never underestimate the power of your small habits, right? Keep at it.
Right. Powerful. Yeah, thank you so much, Veena. And it's such a refreshing and insightful conversation. It was truly joy having you on. And to everyone watching, remember your career is a journey, not a destination. Keep pivoting, keep learning, keep growing. And I'll catch you in the next conversation. Until then, stay awesome. Thank you.